Good morning. It's Wellness Wednesday, and I hope you're well where you are. No doubt, perhaps if you're like me, you've managed to regain some semblance of routine back the last few days. I feel like I've achieved more in the last 2 days than I have in the last 2 months. Is a bit of a misnomer because it's been an immensely busy time this last few months, and I've been spending a lot of nights and early mornings in Brazil as we prepare to launch a project there that I'm working on. But that just means that finally the kids went back to school officially on Monday. We've had 2 full days at school, or lots of 5 hours, and there's a lot you can achieve in 5 hours, which includes having your hair done after 2 very, very long months of not having your hair done. So that was a blessing as well yesterday to actually get my hair done for a first time in a long time, and to catch up on lots and lots and lots of outstanding things that have been in my to-do list, which includes planning my next wellness retreat, which is at Aerate Beach from the 18th to 20th of March. So I've got quite a lot of bookings, and it's going to be a phenomenal time because I'm calling it me time. So next retreat is entitled Me Time, which is also you time. So I think a lot of mums out there particularly need me time at the moment after I can't think of the word I'm trying to say, extraordinary long school holidays, unholiday-like school holidays. We all managed to get sick in January, so there was 3 weeks of illness in our house. And that was challenging whilst continuing to work and look after the kids. So I feel like we're on the other side of that, and there's lots of good things to look forward to, which is really what I wanted to talk about today, which is about stagnation, because we can often find ourselves becoming stagnant after or when we've become ill, or at the end of an illness, or we can stagnate in a relationship, we can stagnate in a job, we can stagnate in our personal development. There's many, many areas of our life in which we can stagnate. And stagnate, the definition of stagnate basically is to become, to not flow or to not move. So if we're stuck and we're not flowing and we're not moving, we can feel quite dense and heavy, and over time that impacts our well-being, potentially our health as well, and we may not even be aware of it, that we're stuck. Essentially, we become stuck if we're stagnating. So I myself have felt stagnate in a couple of areas of my life over the last few months, and I've recognized it, and I've recognized the impact it's had on me. So I now need to put things in motion to become unstuck and unstagnate in those areas, because it can happen in our home life, work life, health, personal development, relationships, even our marriage and so on. So I feel now, okay, there's a little bit of breathing space in front of me. I can start to find ways to move them, bring more good energy back in, and to get that flow going again. So I remember as a child growing up on a cattle station, we'd be out mustering on our horses all day, and you'd get thirsty. And in those days we didn't have quad bikes following us around with ice cold water, so sometimes you'd be looking for water. So if you'd find a pool or a stream and the water was fresh, it was great. If you'd find a pool or a stream where the water was stagnant, you'd have to decide how stagnant it was and whether or not it was safe and healthy to drink. And that kind of impression has stayed with me for a really long time, because it's the quality of the water that you want to put into your body. And in essence, life is like that. It kind of becomes a metaphor for life, because when the stagnant water becomes murky and smelly and full of bacteria, now is that really what we want in our life? Murkiness, bacteria, and to be stuck and to be a bit smelly? Well, the truth is not really. So with that in mind and that metaphor for life, I was thinking, okay, well, we have swimming pools with a filter. Why do we have a filter? Because then the pool doesn't turn into a pond that frogs and toads want to swim in. In our fish tanks, we have a filter that aerates the water so the fish have fresh air, oxygenated water to breathe. If you ever go to a fish farm, you'll see that they're constantly aerating the water. In the ocean, the waves aerate the water so that there's constantly new oxygen moving down to the plankton and everything at the bottom, and the fish have fresh oxygen to breathe as well. So this is the concept of aeration is very important to prevent stagnation. So if we need to aerate, if stagnation is a metaphor for life, and if we need to aerate water to prevent stagnation, then how do we aerate our life? So this is really interesting if you think about it, because you think, okay, well, I'm feeling stuck now and I don't know what to do. Well, what's the first thing I can do to aerate myself? So here's my top 5 tips to aerate yourself back into forward motion and to prevent stagnation, which is that heavy feeling of low well-being, poor, potentially poor health, and missed opportunities or lack of personal growth and development. So the number 1 tip is to move your body. Why? Because when you move your body, you promote oxygen flow through your cells. You're essentially aerating your cells, you're aerating your brain, and you're moving nutrients through your body. So if you feel stuck in any area of your life, moving your body is the first thing that you should do. It could be going for a walk, going for a bike ride, going for a swim, getting out into fresh air, and just really getting that oxygen flow through your body, because we're organic beings in the same way that fish and other living creatures are organic beings. So aerating oxygen through our body is really, really important. Number 2 is to write down areas you think that you have stagnated and possible reasons why you're experiencing that feeling. So it could be, if it's a professional thing or a work thing, or if you're a student, for instance, it could be that you feel you've learned as much as you can. Or are you developing and growing? You know, are there opportunities for you? Have you stopped growing in a particular area and you feel, I want to go to the next level, but you're not necessarily, you don't have the resources, you don't have the support, you're not getting the encouragement that you ideally need. So that's when you start to become stagnant. You know, and it's very easy to kind of get to a point in your development where you think, okay, where do I go from here? And, you know, sometimes you need that gentle guiding hand to nudge you in the right direction or to inspire you. So writing it down is really important. Why have I stagnated, and what are the possible reasons that are causing this feeling? Number 3 is to recognize that this is just a phase. Now, this is really important because you can stay stuck in it, or you can recognize it and move through it. The goal is to move through it with grace and compassion, because sometimes the reasons that you might be stagnated are things not in your control. For instance, if you've been responsible for looking after or caring for people, whether it's a relative, a family, a friend, or whatever, certain areas of your life may have been put on hold for a period of time, so you've become a bit stagnant in your area. And that certainly can be true for mums who've been caring for kids for a long time and then want to re-enter the workforce. They feel like they've stagnated in their skills, their confidence is not so high, and self-esteem becomes more prone to knockback. So, you know, we really need to recognize that stagnation is just a phase, and we can move through it if we take kind of healthy and proactive steps to do that. So the grace and compassion becomes important, because it's starting to recognize and understand, okay, well, why am I in this situation? And to be compassionate with ourselves. Number 4 would be to read a new book. So often we have our likes, and we tend to go for genre that we like, whether it might be self-help or chick lit or crime or thriller or whatever. Or if you're always reading to your children, you might not have time to read for yourself, or even listening to podcasts or learning or something. Sometimes it's important to switch genres, because you want new influences. You want new neural pathways to be forming in your brain. So you want to expose yourself to new stimulus. Therefore, you want to take on content and ideas that are going to make you go, aha, aha, aha. I have those moments. So really, you can switch genres, read a new book. Don't get stuck in the same content all the time, because that's not going to help you with your personal growth. And then number 5 would be invite someone you admire for a coffee or a virtual hookup. So often this person can inspire you or share some insights as to what they did when they got stuck. So, you know, it might be reaching out to someone that you admire to emulate, someone who's made a positive impact on you, or someone you've admired from a distance, and you think, hey, I think I'd like to connect with that person, because they might just help me move through my period of stagnation. So those are my top 5 tips. I certainly am following all of those top 5 tips at the moment in order to move through the areas that I feel stagnant. But also I recognize over this past 2 months that sometimes stagnation is good, because it is that time to stop and review and reflect in order to move forward again. So I'm kind of feeling grateful that I've had this time of stagnation to look at what's important to me for the next phase of my personal journey. And I know what I can do now to aerate areas of my life that need attention, and to keep those top 5 tips moving forward, because overall I recognize the negative impact that stagnation has on my well-being, and I want to prevent that as long as possible. I hope you've noticed my beautiful nails that my 4-year-old painted for me. My toes are all different colors on my fingers. I do need to take it off, but I just haven't had time. So that's probably something else to do on my list this week. So my top 5 tips for stagnation, I hope you find those helpful. Move your body, write down areas you think are stuck, recognize it's just a phase, read a new book, switch genres, invite someone you admire for a coffee. They're very simple, but they can really help us kind of move forward and even change your direction or your trajectory from time to time. The important thing is to not wallow in stagnation, because wallowing in stagnant water is going to make you unhealthy and stinky and dank, and you'll be covered in bacteria, because that's what stagnant water is. So I hope you've enjoyed this little chat today. Try to add some humor to it. If you're feeling unwell, or you have family members unwell at the moment, sending you my love and good wishes. I'm grateful that we moved through our 3 weeks of COVID and came out on the other side with no detrimental effects, but it was challenging to say the least. So best wishes for February. Valentine's Day is coming. Maybe that's something to unstagnate, and I'm wishing you a great week ahead. All right, take care. See you soon. Bye.